Welcome to the Get Events Online live stream. My name's Warwick Merry. I'm going to be your host. Hey, events can be very stiff and boring. And sometimes they need to be. Sometimes there's a seriousness, a solemnity to an event that really needs that air of reservedness. And that's great. One of the things that is missing from a lot of events is the humanity, the realism, the real life people on display. And there's been a couple of examples of that in my life of late, and a couple of things that we did to actually add back the humanity. So I just wanted to share that idea. So if you enjoy listening to different discussions about events, reach out, say hello, join us on the live stream every Thursday, or come and hang by Making Events Awesome. Here, look, I'll just put that at the bottom there for you so you know about Making Events Awesome. So last night, the night before, this week's been a bit of a blur. Tuesday night, I was hosting a graduation ceremony for a tertiary institution here in Australia. And anyone who's been to a graduation, be it your own, be it someone else's, often there's an academic up the front who waffles on and twaddles about something that no one really cares about. And then they just name after name after name after name as they walk across the stage. How do you add a bit of realism to it? How do you add that authenticity? Well, one of the great things that happened at this event was they had some little snippet videos of some of their students talking about their real life situation. It was a really good way to profile some of the students in the organization. And also, I cracked a few jokes. Yes, I know, it's hard to believe. And I'm not talking about stand-up comedy, but it's like we're just enjoying what's going on. There was a little girl in the audience who saw her mum on stage. The girl must have been 5 or 6. And as the mother is receiving the certificate, that it says, you could just hear this, mummy, 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 and sort of waving going on. And then, mum turns around and waved back. It was too good not to mention it. And everyone in the room knew it was going on. It is the elephant in the room. And so I was able to say a comment along the lines of how fantastic to have, support from all ages amongst your family and friends, and to, be such a great role model. So I was able to use that situation. So it adds that humanity to it. Funerals can be very, very serious, yet they're one of those situations where sharing some of the human stories about the person who's passed is such a bonding thing and brings such life to the actual event. Just really keeping them in mind and actively sharing some of the things that are going on with them. Too often, what my experience has been is the delegates get bored, and because it is a bit too serious. So how do we add some energy and life into it? And you can do that by, well, the easiest thing is to make it about the delegates. Too often we get focused on our content. We want to share what our content is and this amazing, versus going, well, who's in the room? Let's make it about them. So to play with the audience, to as a speaker, as a presenter, as an event organizer, make sure that there's opportunities for the audience to actually engage and have it truly their conference or their event. We're tired of having events done to us. We now need them done with us. And that will keep, no matter how serious the event, that'll keep your engagement up, and it'll really add that humanity to it. One last story from what happened at the graduation night. One of the students who was graduating walked on stage, and they have their ceremonial robe, and depending on what they're graduating from, they may have a scarf, or they may have a, I'm sure it's a better name than a mortarboard. That's what they're called, the black mortarboard with the tassel and all the delights. Well, this particular student, the scarf, or I'm sure it's got a better name than scarf, fell off. And as she put it back on, it was a bit crooked. And I noticed it, and because I could see from behind. And so I actually, stopped the photographer, went over, straightened it up for her, got it all nice, and then stepped back a little bit. Because these kind of things are just too important to let it be messy. So I think it's really important if we can focus on how do we show our care, our consideration for those of us who are there in the room at the event, to make that a bit more human. Don't be scared of letting your humanity out. Embrace it. I think now more than ever, we see such edited and filtered twaddle happening on the internet that most of us just in the back of our mind going, that can't be real. That's not real. So adding that reality and that humanity to an event is going to make it so more memorable and so much more enjoyable for the delegates who are there. All right. I hope you've enjoyed that little bit of observation around having a bit of authenticity, as it were, brought to events. And for your next event, I'd strongly encourage you to look at what can we do so that the delegates are actually making it their event, doing something at the event, not just standing around drinking and eating, but actually doing something during the process of the event. It'll make a big difference to how the delegates feel about the event, and it will truly make it theirs and allow them to embrace their humanity. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back again next Thursday at 9 a.m. as I try and do every week. If you want to stay in touch with our community, the Making Events Awesome community, head down to makingeventsawesome.com down here across the bottom of the screen. Head there and come and hang out. Bring your questions, bring your answers, just share your experience. Next Friday, I am hosting for conference organizers. It is purely for conference organizers. We've got a 40-minute power forum when we just talk about what are the issues going on and how do we address them. So if you're interested, just put a comment in the chat saying you're interested and I'll get you the details. All right. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. You just